Join me as we embark on a deeply emotional journey into the untold story of Angel, whose life is a testament to the unbreakable human spirit. Her journey will take you through the highs and lows of existence, navigating the churning waters of grief, loss, and ultimately healing. Angel's story is one of vulnerability, heartbreak, and the transformative power of resilience. It's a reminder of how fragile life is and how important it is to cherish every fleeting moment with the people who matter most. Angel was living what many would consider an ordinary life. She had a tight-knit group of friends, a supportive family, and a vibrant personality that made her the heart of every gathering. Her childhood was filled with laughter and warmth. Growing up in a community that valued compassion and kindness, the seeds of her optimism were sown in her early years, nurtured by the love of those closest to her. She was the type of person who could always be counted on, the one who would drop everything to lend a helping hand, no matter how big or small the need. But life, as it often does, took an unexpected and heartbreaking turn for Angel. In the midst of what seemed like a normal day, a day like any other, tragedy struck. A devastating loss tore through her world with the force of a hurricane, leaving behind nothing but wreckage and confusion. The event was sudden and without warning, an unfathomable shock that left Angel reeling. It felt like her entire life had been turned inside out in the blink of an eye. The days that followed were a blur of anguish and numbness. Angel found herself adrift in a sea of emotions she had never experienced before. There was a heavy emptiness in her chest, as if a vital part of her had been ripped away, leaving a void that nothing could fill. The world that had once been so bright and full of possibilities now seemed colorless and desolate. Every corner of her life was shrouded in grief. She couldn't escape the sadness that clung to her like a shadow. It was always there. Whether she was alone in the quiet of her bedroom or surrounded by well-meaning friends and family, even their support, as steadfast as it was, felt hollow. No amount of kind words or loving embraces could ease the pain that was now part of her existence. In the weeks that followed, Angel found herself grappling with an overwhelming sense of isolation, even in the midst of her community's outpouring of love. The loss was multifaceted, a complex web of circumstances that Angel struggled to unravel. There was no single reason for the tragedy, no one person or event to blame. It was a perfect storm of small, tragic decisions and unforeseeable events that culminated in her life being forever altered. In the days leading up to the loss, Angel had been excited for what the future held. She had been planning, dreaming, building her hopes on a foundation she believed was solid.
But like a house of cards, everything came crashing down without warning.
In the aftermath, Angel's grief took on many forms. She cycled through anger, furious at the unfairness of it all. She questioned everything she thought she knew about life, about fairness, about what she deserved. Why had this happened to her? Why now? She replayed the days before the tragedy in her mind endlessly, searching for some missed warning sign, some indication that could have allowed her to change the outcome. But no amount of reflection could change what had been done. Sadness became her constant companion. It felt all-consuming, as if her emotions had been dipped in a thick fog that wouldn't lift. She found herself crying without warning, triggered by the smallest of things, a song on the radio, a familiar smell, the sight of something her loved one would have enjoyed. Life had become a series of painful reminders of what she had lost. In the quiet moments, when the world outside fell silent and she was left alone with her thoughts, the grief would rise like a tidal wave, crashing over her and pulling her under. These were the darkest days, when Angel felt as though she might never find her way out of the despair. She began to withdraw from those around her, closing herself off from the people who cared the most. It wasn't that she didn't appreciate their love. It was that the pain had become too much to bear, and she wasn't sure how to process it with others. She feared that if she let even a fraction of it out, it would consume her entirely. As the weeks turned into months, Angel began to reflect on her life before the loss. The memories of happier times slowly resurfaced. She remembered the laughter that once filled her days, the warmth of summer nights spent with friends, and the quiet moments of contentment with loved ones. These memories, though bittersweet, became her lifeline. She realized that while the pain of loss was immense, the love that came before it was just as powerful. Gradually, Angel began to accept that while the pain would never fully disappear, it didn't have to define her. She could hold on to the memory of her loved one and honor their life by continuing to live her own. She began to find small ways to cope, rediscovering the activities that once brought her joy. Slowly, the fog of grief started to lift, allowing her to see glimpses of hope beyond the darkness. There was a moment. She couldn't pinpoint exactly when something shifted inside of her. Angel came to the realization that while life could never go back to what it was before, she still had the power to shape her future. She could take the lessons learned through loss and use them to move forward, stronger and more resilient than ever before. She began to reach out to others who had experienced similar pain, realizing that by helping them, she was also helping herself. She discovered that by sharing her story, she was giving voice to the unspeakable grief that so many people silently carry. Angel's vulnerability became her strength, and through that strength, she found a sense of purpose again. The loss had irrevocably changed her, but it hadn't broken her. Angel's journey is one of resilience, of hope forged in the fires of tragedy. It's a story that reminds us all of the importance of cherishing the moments we have, of holding our loved ones close, and of never taking life for granted. We never know what the future holds, but through Angel's story, we learn that even in the darkest times, there is always a way forward. Thank you for joining me on this deeply emotional exploration of Angel's life. Her story is one of countless others who have faced loss and found their way through the pain. If Angel's journey has resonated with you, I encourage you to share your own stories of resilience, hope, and overcoming adversity in the comments below. Together, we can remind each other that no matter what life throws our way, we always have the strength to keep